up guys, it's Jake back with an RZL scale. Today's video hopefully is going to be a lot shorter than yesterday's. I know that was kind of a bummer for everything to be super long. Didn't really mean for it to turn out that way, so hopefully today makes up for it. I'm going to try to keep everything as short and simple as I possibly can. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. Obviously made some progress here on our chassis. Last time when we left off, we had just completed this first frame rail, and I used this to go ahead and make my second frame rail. I went back and measured the rear end width and then subtracted these outside frame rail widths, so 1/8 inch off either side. So it was 1 3/4 on the rear end width, and then it was an 1/8 inch on either side for the chassis. So we ended up with 1.5 inches on these center cross members. And these center cross members are just square tubing. And whenever I work on these, as far as putting cross members in, spacing is totally up to you. This is just a formula that works for me. I'll stand it upright. I usually do one down here at the very beginning of it, and then I'll do one. Typically try to keep it pretty close to the start of the kick up here. And then of course 2 up top with a notch, and then 1 down low. And that keeps everything pretty straight, pretty square, and it gives it a little bit of rigidity as well. Now I have gone ahead and mounted up these wheels, and I'll probably break them back off and go ahead and paint this rear back half and get it under the truck, just so we can look at it. But I wanted to get everything kind of together to show you guys what I did to get this far. These lower link bars, I made these from evergreen styrene, and it is evergreen part number 223. It's 3/32 tubing, so it is hollow. It is easy to kind of cope out for the shape there, and get that radius that you need. And then obviously I set the rear end in there and made a couple marks, just kind of as a rough reference towards the center of our notch here, and then measured from that center to there. I did go ahead and mount these lower ones up. I didn't do anything too significant as far as mounting. I just wanted to show you how these were constructed. These are 1/4 inch wide, I believe, and the center bars were 1 inch. Not that any of those measurements could carry over to anything in particular, but if you were building one of these exactly how we're doing it here, I wanted to make sure that you have all that information just in case. So I mounted them up to the bottom of the 9 inch. Now on your 1-to-1, you would have an outside bracket here, assuming that they were mounted to the inside of the frame rail. So you need to make an outside bracket, and then brackets for the rear end as well. So you can do a couple of different ways there. You can just take a piece of flat styrene stock. I have this leftover junk that I'll probably cut and just make. So we'll do that, and then that'll complete 90% of this back half. Now the other 10%, and like I say, this stuff, I mean, it looks like a lot, but really it's been super straightforward. I got this from one frame rail to this stage in about an hour, just kind of hanging out on the couch and just piddling on it. So it's nothing crazy. Just take your time, make sure everything's square, like I say. Use your grid paper every chance you get, and everything will come out good. Now you can run a 2-link back half. There's really nothing wrong with it, but what it does, it doesn't allow much flexibility. I guess if you were to kind of drive, I guess, crooked over a speed bump would be a good example. It doesn't give you a whole lot of room there to wiggle, especially with those kinds of mounts. It's more for just a straight up and down travel, but it will work. One that's very common is to do a 2-link with a panhard bar, and what a panhard bar does is mounts to really any point on your rear end, typically just a little bit off center, and then runs back over to the frame. We could do it that way. We could just do a panhard bar on there. We could just leave a 2-link. We could do 3-link. We could do 4-link. You could do anything you want to past this point, and there's really no wrong answer there. So that part I'm going to leave completely up to you guys, because if you can do these lower links, you can do the upper link no problem. And if you can make this chassis, even just the bare essentials of the frame rails, you can absolutely make any kind of a mount that you wanted to. We're going to do another one of these. I'll probably go ahead and have this section ready, just this first 3 inches or so, and then these notches will change, and I'll show you a really quick and cool way to make radiused arches. Other than where we're sitting right now doing the brackets and the mounting for everything, which I admit that I slack on at times, we need bags. I use these are 5/16 flathead plugs. I got these at the hardware store for like $1, and they kind of look like a deflated Firestone F9000 bag. They're kind of a cylindrical. They don't have the typical like cheeseburger shape. They're just a tube shape. I've actually got to sit out in the garage that I may put a picture of in here just so you guys know what I'm talking about. So these mount up on this one, in my head anyway. I have them mounted up on top of the axle, and everything's measured out to where it sits, if I can do this just right, sits perfectly up on top. And then I can just put my bag mounts up top. You can do any array of bag mounts that you feel up to. You know, you could do a radius bag mount, you can do just square, you can just do a plate. I typically like doing a plate just because it looks cleaner. But like I say, there's a million different ways you can do your bag mounts and your third link or your 4-link setup. But I just wanted to give you guys the basics. Again, I apologize for the last video being so I guess in-depth and drawn out. But if you can get this far on these frame rails, you've definitely not got any problem doing the rest of it. So enough talking. I'm going to show you how this fits up in here in the truck, and then hopefully we can find something else to do here. But literally just sits over top of it. I mean, it is simple as that, and it already looks pretty doggone tough in there. Everything's nice and straight, nice and square. Everything's really true. And you can see that our frame rails are running pretty far up on the bottom of the interior tub, which is awesome because that's what we're going to use to mount this up, or that's what I'm going to use to mount this up. So that'll be a big help as well. And then we don't have any clearance issues as far as hitting the ground with the truck itself. So I would just set everything in place, you know, flip it back over, mark it, everything's square, blow this back apart, prime it, paint it whatever color we want it, and then put it back up underneath the truck and glue it, and then we're pretty well done on that part of it. Unless, of course, you wanted to build off of this, and you could reuse your old bed floor. You could put it back in. You know, obviously on this one, I really could have cut just across here and done a little bit of trimming and kind of made things work, but you can reuse the bed floor that you cut out. You can leave it open. You can clean this up. I like to spray. I like to clean up my lines as best as I can and use an actual spray-in bed liner. It comes in a rattle can. It's Rust-Oleum, I believe. And it looks awesome in these. It's got the right look, and the grains in it are really small. So it looks like scale rhino liner, which is super cool. And then I guess on the last note, as far as if you're going to do like a simple back half like this as a drive shaft, I never really think that far ahead. You can take any old drive shaft that you've got laying around. Really all you need is just the U-joint off the end of it, and then you take the same diameter tubing that we used out here, this 223, that 5/32 tubing, and run back to here. It clears the bottom of the bed, and everything lines up pretty well. So I know that was super quick, and I kind of busted this one out. But if you've got any questions on this or any other design, feel free to let me know. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, comment on here. Now, one question that I did get before from one of my followers on Instagram, and his question was how I managed to put these notches together and not have any holes. And that's what I was talking about yesterday, about shooting the extra glue up in there, because if we look at this one, you can see where it's almost transparent right there, and that is where the glue was. And it solidified, sanded down, so whenever this thing gets a coat of primer on it, it is going to look just like there was never any gap there. Sanded the sides down, I've kind of rounded the top just to give it a little bit of that smooth look, kind of taking all the hard edges off of it. It's just getting past that first frame rail is really the biggest hurdle, because after that it's just connecting the two, putting your rear end where you want it, and then putting your link bars however you want them. You know, if you make one of these, if you make the frame and it's all wonky and goofy, you know, don't throw it away, don't get discouraged. I would highly recommend, I think the first 2 or 3 of these that I did didn't come out right, they didn't come out square. I was kind of learning as I went, so I ended up just breaking them back apart piece by piece, and figuring out at what point they needed shifted or what I did wrong. So there you go, there is your universal back half that is under our C1500. That's one of the other things that I wanted to mention. This is realistically a universal back half. If you had a 66 C10, you could set it underneath there. You could set it underneath a 1500 Dodge. Pretty much anything you've got. All you would have to do is adjust this width and your rear end width, and then possibly your notch height, and I mean you're good to go. So knowing how to just build this design here, if you're into slamming stuff, will get you miles and miles ahead of it. So I'm going to finish this one up, and like I say, all I'm going to do is just add this to the bottom of it. The front end, I'm going to run a rod style axle, like what came with the promo truck originally. The only difference is I have to drill the wheels out just a little bit bigger in the center, and then shorten the axle just a hair. And what I'll do is I'll take this same material and just run it from where the old screw mounts were back to the front of the firewall tub, figure out where I want my wheels centered up, mark it, drill through there, and then I'll put the axle through it. Obviously while the pieces are out of the truck, put the axle through it, set it up in there, set it at the height I want, and then glue it into place, and it's done. It's as simple as that. I'm going to button this one up. I do have a couple other trucks that just came in today that will be up for sale. I've got a red short bed 1500, it's a step side, and then one of these extended cab long beds, but it's indigo blue, just like the Midnight Rider I did a couple weeks ago. There's the big and the small of it, for building a custom back half. Please, if you're watching these videos, leave me a little bit of feedback, whatever you think on them. You know, I try to post on Instagram whenever I've got a new video that's out. So if you see one, you know, if you don't feel like commenting on YouTube, or if you just switched over and watched it and you're not actually logged into YouTube, even leave a comment on the Instagram post about the video, and just let me know. You know, send any questions my way, any constructive criticism, anything like that, anything that you want to see in the future. Alright, so we're finished up with the test mule for now. Got the bed liner in, got the chassis painted, got the bag mounts put in, and obviously just a curbside, slammer, whatever you want to call it. Still have a lot of detail to add as far as the drive shaft, air tanks, air lines, all that good stuff. But I'm calling this one good just for right now. So we're going to set it aside because there's other cool stuff that we're going to work on, and that cool stuff consists of this new one that I picked up today. It's a 63 Impala. It is the 2-in-1, has the opening trunk, all that cool stuff. I'm trying to decide how we should build it, and what things that we can learn and kind of go over while we're building it. I may show some tips and tricks on doing like lace paint, endless lines, things like that. And then I'll show you the best methods for rattle can work. So we may just go ahead and bust into this one starting this week. Get you guys some more updates on this one coming soon. So that'll be a fun project. And I've also got another van coming. In the van we will learn how to do that cool patina look on it. It'll be another creeper van and probably be laid out as well. But you guys let me know what you want to see on this one. I'm going to do just a mild drop on it. Nothing crazy. We're not going to build a full chassis or anything for this. This will just be more of a kind of a fun build for the channel here. If you've got anything, any suggestions, anything like that for this, let me know. And then last but not least, did a little bit of trading around with Towman, Caesar. Ended up with 68 El Camino. I've always had just kind of an odd obsession with these, so I'm really looking forward to starting on it. It'll probably appear on the channel a couple times as well as we go through building it. Probably to be doing some kind of either a street machine look with it, like a 70s kind of wild deal, or it'll be my first actual lowrider project. So we'll see what happens, but I just want to let you guys know what was coming up. I appreciate you following along on this one, and we'll keep this around for now. But if anybody out there is looking for one of these trucks, I've got a few for sale on my page. Hit me up if you're interested in them. And then I've always got a couple coming, so keep your eyes peeled for anything new that you see that you like. Hopefully this inspired you to maybe pick one up and do some hacking of your own, kind of give it a try and see what you can come up with. But for now, this one's going on the shelf. It'll chill out back here, probably be a good background prop for us. So again, thanks for tuning in. Should have more coming a little bit later this week, and yeah, I think that's it. So happy modeling, guys. Thanks for watching.
Visualizing the realism of life in action.